Shalom, men. Welcome back to another episode of the Set Apart Man. Man, in today's video, man, this is going to be a scary truth, a harsh reality for men to finally realize. Man, if you've never tested your woman's obedience, you might think you've got a godly woman. You might think this woman is obedient. And the painful truth is, a lot of men, once they hear this, are going to realize, man, their woman is a dud. Let's talk about it.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room, you can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another righteous Ruach Spirit-filled episode of the Set Apart Man. Once again, I'm back at it in them trenches, handling that kingdom business. Man, on the Set Apart Man YouTube channel, man, I talk about stuff that will help men in their walk with the Most High, help men live more obedient to the will of the Most High and navigate this wicked world according to righteousness. And when I say wicked world, I'm talking about good men having to deal with lip service worshipers, women masquerading around as I'm submissive, I'm obedient, but when you put them in a situation where that is tested, they're the complete opposite. I'm not an advocate for men just openly getting manipulated and secretly, deceptively, craftily getting manipulated and women controlling men. I'm not an advocate for that over here. We ain't playing that. It's the Set Apart Man. But when we think about the word obedience in its simplest form, it means yielding to instructions or orders from an authority figure. And I'm here today to tell you that, man, the Most High Yah gave you divine authority over a woman. And like I said, man, a lot of men, this is going to be a message that's hard to stomach, but you need to hear it. Because if she doesn't have obedience, at least towards you, now you got to look even deeper and say, does she even have the obedience towards the Most High Yah? Because if she doesn't, man, you've got yourself a certified, signified dud. But before I dive into it, man, I need all brothers out there to do me a solid. Smash that like button, hit that like button. Don't cost you anything. Quit being cheap. Just a click of a button to show your support. Secondly, subscribe to the Set Apart Man YouTube channel. If you're serious about your walk, your journey of becoming a set apart man. And then thirdly, drop a comment down below, answering this question. Why do you think men oftentimes find themselves with disobedient women? Women that aren't submissive, women that aren't agreeable or cooperative. Why do you think this is? Let me know down in the comments, man. Let's start the dialogue. I truly want to hear what you got to say. Okay, man, I'm going to give you a scenario. Man, let's say, for instance, man, you are a good man by way of when it comes to your biblical role of being a provider. The word says a man that does not provide for his family, especially those of his own household, is worse than an infidel and denied the faith. You are the man that you make sure, man, your wife has a roof over her head. She's got electrical, you got water, the utilities is paid. You make sure there's food in the refrigerator. You make sure she's got clothes on her back. That's what the passage is. It's talking about necessities. It's talking about the basic provisions of livelihood. So what you've done is you have solved a major problem that a lot of women are struggling to solve. A lot of these independent women are struggling, especially in today's daytime and hour, saying they can't afford the cost of living on their own. Your woman don't have to worry about that because here you are being the good man that you are. You've provided that. You've got that on lock. You know, man, your woman can come ask you to do something. And in all reality, the obedience you give her, she should be reciprocating. But the reality is, your wife can come ask you, hey, can you come look at the car? My car is doing something funny. Man, you will stop what you're doing and you will go take a look at it. Now, this is where I said, man, oftentimes men hitch themselves to disobedient women, you know, when they should have tested her obedience well before marriage. And you're finding out, oh snap, bro, how did I choose this woman that's a dud? You know, how you choose a woman that's a dud is you chose her according to your flesh. You didn't use discernment. You didn't use according to the will of the Most High. You went off looks and you went off your flesh. She was beautiful and your flesh said yes. And you said, will you marry me? Man, if you're the kind of man that I described in that scenario, you know, you're trying to be the head of your house. You're trying to be the man the Most High Yah calls you to be. And you ask your woman, you know, she's not doing anything. She could be watching TV. If you come in there and say, hey, baby, can you make me a sandwich? I'm hungry. And if she says anything other than yes, or how many pieces of cheese, how many pieces of meat, how do you want it? Brothers, you got yourself a dud. See, the set apart woman who's in alignment with the will of the Most High Yah understands her function. And if she is busy doing something, you know, that's part of her function, she'll say, hey, let me finish putting this load of clothes in the wash, get that going, and then I'll make you a sandwich. I got you, baby. But a lot of men, the reality is we're seeing so many men out there, men saying, man, I haven't required you to do anything. I haven't required you to go outside this house and have to work. You ain't never got to worry about no bills. I tell you, man, my wife don't even know who our electric company is. Why? Because she don't have to deal with none of that. I take care of that. Man, let me tell you something, man. If you go in there and you ask your wife to do something, can you make me something to drink? Can you fix me a sandwich? I'm telling you, you've got men out here that are providing comfortable and plush lifestyles for women that won't even cook you a meal to eat. And they are revealing their rebellion and disdain for you as a man in their disobedience. And there's so many videos on TikTok talking about my man want me to cook for him. I won't do it. He divorced me. He divorced me because I wouldn't cook for him. Man, I'm telling you, if she says anything other than yes, man, you got a dud. You've got a signified, certified dud. Okay? Yielding to the instructions or orders from an authority figure. And men, when you test her authority, say, baby, make me a sandwich and something to drink, please. There's nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes, that's the same tone they use towards getting you to do stuff that you drop everything. There's nothing wrong with that. You're just coming from a place of authority and knowing what you should get. Okay? When we look at Hebrews chapter 13, verse 17, obey them that have rule over you and submit yourselves, for they watch over your souls as they must give an account. They may do it with joy and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you. Okay? So a woman who is not obedient, she gonna be like, you don't have no rule over me. I got to submit. That's slavery. Okay, well let's see, because these women is religious as heck until we get into that word. We get in that word and we really see what they about. Genesis 3:16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desires shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So if she says she loves God and is disobedient, you test her obedience and she's disobedient, you got to ask yourself, man, what God does she love? Because it can't be the Most High Yah. She's probably idolatrous. We look at Ephesians chapter 5, verse 23 through 33. Wives, be subject to your own husbands, as service to Yahweh. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Hamashiach is the head of the church, himself being the savior of the body. But as the church is subject to Hamashiach, so also wives be subject to their husbands in everything. respecting both their position as protector and their responsibility to Yahweh as the head of the house. So when you think about this, men, when you realize your wife is a dud, you're gonna realize the spiritual condition she's in. And now it's gonna be like a Rolodex of stuff, of all the stuff you've had to deal with out of her as a man, why it played out that way. And here's the thing: a woman that's disobedient to her husband cannot love the Most High. Cannot, because it's contrary to what he instructs. So her rebellion towards you is her rebellion towards the Most High Yah. You know, a lot of these, here's the thing, man. These women will have good men that take care, making sure your woman don't even know who the rent, the mortgage, she don't even know who that stuff gets paid to. She don't know who the electric company is, the water company. She don't know that because you take care of it. A lot of these women who go out and work and they come home, I'm tired. You know, they're tired for a different reason than you tired. You tired because you're providing livelihood, sustainability. They're tired because they're trying to maintain their independence in the world, because in marriage, in biblical marriage, they are required to be interdependent. And you know what? She'll go to that job. You know, her supervisor will tell her whatever. He don't even have to say it nicely. And she's yes, 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 you know, obedient. But in marriage, no. Her supervisor, the little, like a lot of the little funky money that they making all the time won't even cover the lifestyle that you're providing. They spend time trying to buy stuff off Temu, Amazon, Shein, Fast and Nova, buying makeup, weed, all kind of foolishness. But yet, they give their obedience to their supervisor, their boss, their manager, and yet you get none of it. Man, you got to do it. You've got to do it. And you're going to have to call her on this. If you don't call her on this, you might as well just put your head down and just keep going. You might as well just put your head down and keep going. If you ask, like, men, if you are a good man according to the will of the Most High Yah and what your function is supposed to be, and you ask your woman to do something simple for you, and she tries to bite your head off, you got it. You have to address that, because the relationship is one-sided. Okay, I can tell you, if you ask your woman to do that, I can guarantee you some other things that she does. She only gives sex when she's in the mood. There's so many other areas that I now know because of her rebellion towards you that she's going to be derelict in. But if she was to ask you, hey, can we go out to eat tonight? You'll be like, sure, baby, let's go out to eat. Get dressed, we'll go out to eat. You're far more agreeable and cooperative with her, and she has none of that for you. She's gonna be derelict in a lot of other. You try to roll over in the middle of the night. Hey, baby, let me get some of them conjugal rights. I'm not in the mood. Leave me alone. I'm tired. Can't you see my head hurt? So a lot of men, they don't even realize what they have done is they've married on the terms of a woman. And when you marry on the terms of a woman, and those terms definitely ain't in alignment with the will of the Most High Yah, brothers, you got to do it. I'm talking about you take a stamp and you put your signature on it and you stamp it, sign it, seal it, send it off. You got a signified, certified dud. That's the reality of it. And here's the thing. When you check her on her, you're not going to be able to force her obedience. Good luck. Many men have tried. You ain't going to be like, when I came into the knowledge of the truth, nobody forced me to obey the will of the Most High. I was convicted. That the life that I was living was not in alignment with the will of the Most High. I was convicted in the fact that my whole life I had been raised to be a lip service worshiper. But I had to make a choice to say, you know what? Forget what the world is talking about. Man, I want to work out my salvation with fear and trembling. So when you confront her on this, because she going to swear up and down she's submissive, she's a pick-me, she's modest, she's meek, she's cooperative, and I'm agreeable. But the reality is, you know, she appears that way through deception. She doesn't appear that way being validated by the word of Yah. Men, stop letting these women validate their own character. When they get to judgment day and they get to the judgment seat of a Mashiach, they not gonna be able to validate themselves. No, you're gonna be lined up against the word. And if you don't meet the expectation, you ain't getting in. That's why there's 7 end time judgments. I want you to think about that. Men, you have to validate her character. A woman says she's loving. Okay, doesn't the Most High, whenever you see the word love, according to the Bible, there's always obedience tied to it. For this is the love of Yahweh, that we obey his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous or burdensome. She says she love you, but don't obey you. She don't love you. She says she's submissive. Well, when a situation is at stake where she should yield and submit, you don't see it. She's not submissive. She says she's cooperative. I'm cooperative. You know, when you think about it, there's something that she may not agree with, but yet for the betterment sake of the family, she needs to go along with. She doesn't do it. She's not cooperative. Agreeable. Like you can say, you know, baby, this is where we going to eat. Rather than saying, yeah, baby, let me get ready. She's like, no, I want to do this and I want to do that. She's not agreeable. And the Bible warns us about women like this. Men, see, I've talked about a lot of scenarios that should not have made it past the courting phase. Man, when you make it known that you're a set apart man, and I'm looking as a set apart man, I'm looking for a woman, a virtuous wife that's in alignment with righteousness, not religion, righteousness. Because we can go in the book and we can find the instructions for righteousness. When we go in the Bible, we don't find happy wife, happy life. We don't find subservient men being counted as righteous. We don't find rebellious women that are disobedient to their husband getting a standing ovation by the Most High Yah. No, we see in the book, man, they're called wicked. They're called harlots, Jezebels, Rahabs. You got to understand, Ruth, Sarah, those are obedient wives highly sought after by men of righteousness. But a lot of these women of the book, heck no. Man, you got to test her obedience. You know, man, when you are courting her, well before you tie the knot, well before you go up in her and consummate marriage, marriage is consummated by intercourse, by a man going up inside of her, not by a marriage license. That's what the culture told you. Culture told you it was a marriage license. Biblically, that doesn't hold. But you have to test her obedience. You know, simple instructions. Hey, I want to take you out. If you've already found out she doesn't have nothing planned and she's available, you should be able to give her some instructions. Let's go back to obedience. Yielding to instructions or orders from an authority figure. See, you should be able to give her instructions. Hey, you told me you don't have nothing going on. I need you to be ready at 7:10. Okay? See, oftentimes we look over disobedience. So you show up over there at 7:10 and she ain't started to get ready enough. That's disobedience. Brothers, we should be cutting sling load right then and there, but we don't. We acquiesce, we capitulate, we give in, and we just sit around and wait until why is she taking so long? She's showing you her disobedience. She had everything to gain by obeying your instruction. Think about what I just said. And men, if you do not pay attention to this, like, okay, a woman, you got modern women that are expected. The Most High Yah ain't never recognized no girlfriend and boyfriend, no situationship, all of that foolishness. You've got modern women out here talking about, well, if a man want to entertain me, he need to be paying my bit. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Those provisions come in marriage. That's where them provisions come from. The reality, so many of these women are out of pocket. They should be under the covering of their father. But yet, running to the world for independence. That's why they out there demanding all of this foolishness. So as a man, you should be asking and testing her obedience out the gate, because that disobedience towards you is gonna reveal her rebellion towards you and the Most High Yah. When we line her up against other aspects, I guarantee. So if you ask your woman to hey, man, you didn't took her out once or twice, y'all didn't had a nice night out on town, you're still vetting her during the courting process, and say, hey man, I'm gonna get the food, I'm gonna provide the food. Can you cook me a nice meal? I want you to cook. I got some steak, some potatoes, some asparagus. Can you make this? And if the answer is no, what you think I am? They want all this red carpet treatment for them, and they bottom barrel birds. That's what I'm talking about. They are bottom barrel birds. But yet you can't even get them to fulfill a simple function, showcasing the fact that they are anything closely to a Proverbs 31. Men walk, men walk, men walk, men walk. I'm telling you, because it gets painful after that. It gets painful. Obedience is everything. The Most High Yah don't care about our sacrifices. Don't the word say obedience is better than sacrifice? The Most High Yah don't care about your tears. Oh, I love you. Oh, you're so good. He don't care about none of that if you ain't obeying his word. Doesn't he say be doers of the word? Blessed are the doers of the word. You got to understand. So by being a doer, that means we have to be obedient to his word. It's the same structure. The Messiah, Hamashiach, didn't come and disobey the word of the Most High. No, he came here to fulfill. He came here to demonstrate, to show an example. Hamashiach is the head of man. In order for man to be counted as righteous, he has to be obedient to the word. In order for a woman to be counted as obedient, she has to be obedient to the man. Who's the first man a woman has to be obedient with and learn how to respect and reverence? Her father. So if she doesn't have that, men, that's a telltale sign that, hey, she's not going to be able to obey them that have rule over you. Ain't nobody never ruled over her. She don't know. She looks at a man ruling over her as oppressive. She doesn't look at it as protection. The set-apart woman knows the protection of that. Because if she's not moving under the authority of a man, guess what? Man, she's susceptible to attack. Very susceptible attack because she's uncovered. Men, do not dismiss her disobedience. I'm telling you, because it will rear its ugly neck and head in so many ways. And when you ask yourself, man, how did I choose this woman that is a dud? How did I choose this woman that's a straight up bird? No good, worthless, vagabond. That's what a lot of men dealing with. Vagabond women. You chose her because, man, you weren't moving according to righteousness. You chose her because, man, you was moving according to your flesh. And now you're seeing the consequences, while the Most High Yah tells us, man, the flesh wars against the spirit. The spirit of the Most High Yah, which gives us all understanding, which is our helper, wouldn't lead you to no rebellious woman. That's the reality of it. The word doesn't support that. Once again, men, you must test her obedience early on, because disobedience early on is going to equal disobedience later on down the road. Whether that's newlyweds, whether that's 4-5 children later in marriage, whether that's 20 years later in marriage. And I guarantee you, this is one of them videos where you're going to have some older men in the comments agreeing with what I said, because they didn't have to put away rebellious wives because of this. The word says, man, let me give you this final word in closing. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25, verse 26. If she go not as thou would havest her go, cut her off from thy flesh, and give her a bill of divorce, and let her go. Quit going up inside of her. Give her a written bill of divorce, and let her go. Once again, this is the Set Apart Man, kicking that thing gun barrel straight. Until next time, stay set apart, stay disciplined, and stay in the word of the Most High Yahweh. Bow.